John Jones. John Jones was born in upstate New York and wrestled his way through high school before becoming a national junior college champion. He entered the UFC in 2008 at just 21 years old and immediately stood out with spinning elbows, long reach, and insane creativity. After just 6 UFC wins, he got a title shot on short notice at UFC 128. His opponent? Shogun Rua. Jones dominated him, knees, elbows, takedowns, and finished the fight with a crushing sequence in the third round. At 23, he became the youngest champion in UFC history. Over the next decade, he defended the lightweight belt 8 times against legends like Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, and Daniel Cormier. His only career loss came from a disqualification in a fight he was winning. After years of suspensions and layoffs, Jones moved to heavyweight. At UFC 285, he faced Cyril Gane and submitted him in just 2 minutes. That win made him a 2-division champion, 12 years after first winning gold. For all the outside-the-cage chaos, his resume is unmatched. Undefeated in the octagon with wins over 3 generations of contenders. No one has held UFC gold longer, and nobody's done it with more raw talent. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Born in the mountains of Dagestan, Khabib was raised in a wrestling-heavy environment, learning grappling from his father, Abdulmanap. He began training as a child, often wrestling older kids and once famously a bear. After dominating regional circuits in Russia, Khabib entered the UFC in 2012 with a perfect 16-0 record. He continued his run with a smothering style that focused on takedowns, top control, and relentless ground pressure. At UFC 223, he faced Al Quinta for the vacant lightweight title after multiple opponent changes. He won every round and became the undisputed champion. He defended the belt 3 times, submitting Conor McGregor at UFC 229, choking Dustin Poirier at UFC 242, and triangle choking Justin Gaethje at UFC 254. That final fight came just months after his father's death. Khabib retired in the cage immediately afterward, finishing with a perfect 29-0 record. From Dagestan to the top of the UFC, he walked away at his peak, undefeated, and arguably the most dominant fighter MMA's ever seen. Magomed Ankalaev. He grew up in Dagestan, surrounded by the same combat culture that produced Khabib and Islam. He started in Greco-Roman wrestling, then shifted to combat sambo, where he became a national champion. By the time he entered the UFC in 2018, he already held the World Amateur MMA title under WMMAA. His debut ended in a last-second submission loss, literally tapping with 1 second left in the fight. After that, he didn't look back. Ankalaev went on a dominant run, beating Jan Kutsalaba, Nikita Krylov, and former champ Jan Blachowicz. His title shot came after Yeezy Prochazka vacated the belt. At UFC 300, Ankalaev faced Jamal Hill for the vacant light heavyweight title. He dropped Hill in round 2 and finished him with ground and pound to become champion. His style isn't flashy, but he doesn't chase finishes. He controls range with a disciplined striking game, strong clinch work, and smart counters. Opponents rarely win rounds against him, and most can't land clean. Ankalaev's measured approach has frustrated fans at times, but it's worked. In a division known for chaos, he's built his career on control and patience, and that's what got him the belt. From Dagestan to the top of 205, he made the climb quietly but effectively. Juliana Pena. She started training MMA after high school in Washington as a way to get in shape. She then turned pro in 2009 and quickly built a reputation as a gritty, aggressive fighter. In 2013, she joined the Ultimate Fighter Season 18 and won the entire tournament, becoming the first woman to win TUF. Her early UFC run was slowed by injuries, including a severe knee injury in 2014, but she kept coming back. At UFC 269, she got her shot at Amanda Nunes, the most dominant woman in UFC history at that point. Pena was a massive underdog. In round 2, she stunned everyone by rocking Nunes with punches, dragging her to the mat, and securing a rear naked choke. It was one of the biggest upsets in UFC title fight history. She's known for her pressure and durability. She doesn't have elite speed or power, but she keeps coming forward and breaks fighters with pace and resilience. After losing the rematch to Nunes, she stayed in the title mix and reclaimed gold when Nunes retired. From regional circuits to dethroning a legend, Pena earned her place by doing what almost no one thought she could: finish the unbeatable. Dricus du Plessis. Born in Pretoria, South Africa, Dricus du Plessis started out as a kickboxer, winning national titles before transitioning into MMA. He fought regionally in EFC and then in KSW, where he became a champion in both. His UFC debut came in 2020 against Marcus Perez. He won by first-round knockout. From there, he built momentum fast. Wins over Derek Brunson and a brutal finish of Robert Whittaker put him on the radar as a serious contender. At UFC 297, du Plessis fought Sean Strickland for the middleweight belt. The fight was a 5-round war, close, gritty, and tactical. Dricus won by split decision, becoming the first South African UFC champion. His style breaks expectations. He looks awkward on tape, but he never stops pressuring, and he finds ways to land. His cardio is chaotic but reliable, and his ground game is strong when he needs it. Critics questioned his technique, but opponents couldn't stop his pressure. From the local South African scene to holding gold in the UFC, du Plessis didn't follow the standard path, and he didn't need to. He pushed through wars, proved doubters wrong, and now sits on top of one of the UFC's toughest divisions. Jack Della Maddalena. He grew up in Perth, Australia, and started boxing at 9 years old. He transitioned into MMA in his late teens and turned pro in 2016. After losing his first 2 fights, he went on a 14-fight win streak that included a first-round finish on Dana White's Contender Series in 2021. That earned him a UFC contract, and he didn't waste time. He rattled off 5 straight wins in the UFC, 4 by knockout, and quickly became one of the most dangerous strikers in the division. At UFC 300, he faced Shavkat Rakhmonov for the welterweight title. It was his toughest test, an unbeaten, well-rounded opponent known for pressure and submissions. Jack stayed composed, picked his shots, and scored a knockdown in round 4 that sealed a decision win. His boxing is sharp, technical, and relentless. He mixes body work with counter shots and keeps forward pressure until opponents break. Unlike many fighters who rely on athleticism, he relies on fundamentals and fight IQ. Doesn't talk much, doesn't show off, just fights. From regional Australian circuits to UFC gold, he earned everything through grit, clean striking, and the ability to stay dangerous from round 1 to 5. Valentina Shevchenko. She was born in Kyrgyzstan and began training at Taekwondo at age 5. She later transitioned into Muay Thai, where she became an 8-time world champion before moving into MMA. Her early career took her through Russia, South America, and eventually the UFC in 2015. She started out in the bantamweight division, where she beat Holly Holm and lost 2 close fights to Amanda Nunes. When the UFC opened the women's flyweight division, Shevchenko dropped to 125 and immediately took over. She fought for the vacant title at UFC 231 against Nico Montano's replacement, Joanna Zęcek, and won by dominant unanimous decision. From there, she defended the title 7 times, with highlights including a spinning back kick KO of Jessica Ai and dominant performances against Lauren Murphy and Caitlin Chikagian. Her style is surgical, sharp counters, precise distance control, and cold composure in every exchange. Her fight IQ is among the highest in the sport, and she rarely takes damage. In a division filled with speed and volume, she separated herself with accuracy and timing. Islam Makhachev. Born in Makhachkala, Dagestan, Islam Makhachev was raised in the same gym as Khabib Nurmagomedov under Abdulmanap's system. He competed in Sambo early and won a world championship in 2016 before transitioning fully into MMA. He signed with the UFC in 2015, but an early knockout loss slowed his momentum. From there, he went on an 11-fight win streak, showcasing dominant grappling, sharp control, and improved striking. His title shot came at UFC 280 against Charles Oliveira, who held the record for most UFC finishes. Makhachev dropped him in round 2 and secured an arm triangle choke for the submission win. Khabib stepped into the cage afterward and handed him the belt. Islam followed that up with 2 defenses against Alexander Volkanovski, winning both and proving he could adapt to elite strikers. His game's built on suffocating top control, tight transitions, and minimal damage taken. He doesn't rush, he breaks opponents down over time. With Khabib retired, Makhachev became the new face of Dagestani dominance. From training in mountain camps to holding the lightweight crown, his rise wasn't about hype, it was about execution. He's defended the title across styles and stayed unbeaten since 2015, firmly planted at the top of one of UFC's toughest divisions. Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Alexander grew up in New South Wales playing semi-pro rugby at over 200 pounds. When he switched to MMA, he dropped multiple weight classes and reinvented himself as a compact, explosive striker with elite cardio. He went 13-1 before signing with the UFC in 2016 and quickly built a reputation as a relentless pressure fighter with sharp footwork and excellent takedown defense. After winning 7 straight in the UFC, he earned a title shot at UFC 245 against Max Holloway. Volkanovski shut down Holloway's volume with calf kicks, feins, and perfect timing, winning a unanimous decision to become champion. He's since defended the belt multiple times, including razor-close rematches with Holloway and dominant wins over fighters like Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez. Volkanovski blends movement, pace, and adjustment better than almost anyone. He fights like he's downloading data in real time, figuring out opponents minute by minute, round by round. His discipline under pressure and ability to stay technical in chaos are rare. From rugby fields in Australia to defending one of the most competitive titles in UFC history, he built his legacy on effort, consistency, and one of the smartest fight IQs in the game. Merab Dvalishvili. Born in Tbilisi, Georgia, he started training in Sambo and Judo from a young age. He then moved to the U.S. in his early 20s, chasing opportunities and grinding through regional shows while working construction jobs. He made his UFC debut in 2017 and lost his first 2 fights, including a bizarre finish where he appeared to be out after the bell. After that, he turned into a machine. Merab rattled off 9 straight wins with nonstop takedowns, relentless pace, and unmatched cardio. He set UFC records for the most takedown attempts in a fight and most takedowns landed in a bantamweight bout. At UFC 298, he got his title shot against Sean O'Malley. Across 5 rounds, Merab drowned O'Malley in pressure, broke his rhythm, and won a clear decision to become champion. He doesn't rely on knockouts or flashy moments. He smothers opponents with pace and chain wrestling. His gas tank doesn't fade. Even in the 5th round, Merab pushes like it's round 1. He's the first Georgia-born UFC champion and one of the most unorthodox success stories in the division. From early setbacks to owning the belt, he built his name on pure work rate and refusal to slow down. Alexandre Pantoja. Alexandre built his early MMA career in Brazil and earned a spot on the Ultimate Fighter Tournament of Champions in 2016, where he came in as the top seed. He made his official UFC debut in 2017 and spent years battling through the most competitive flyweights in the world. By the time he got his title shot at UFC 290, he'd already fought and beaten Brandon Moreno once before. This time it was 5 rounds of nonstop scrambles, striking exchanges, and control shifts. Pantoja won a split decision and became the UFC flyweight champion. His grappling was the difference. Every scramble leaned his way and every clinch became a threat. Pantoja isn't the fastest or strongest, but he thrives in chaos. He forces fights to get messy and then finds control inside the scramble. His resume includes wins over top names like Moreno, Royval, and Manel Kepa. From regional Brazilian shows to the top of a division built on speed and timing, Pantoja took the long road and earned everything. His path was slow, but when the moment came, he knew how to take it. Zhang Weili. Zhang was born in Hubei, China, and started martial arts training as a child, practicing Sanda and later adding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. She fought across the Chinese regional scene, racking up a 16-fight win streak before the UFC signed her in 2018. Just 3 fights in, she earned a title shot against Jessica Andrade. At UFC Shenzhen, she needed only 42 seconds to land a barrage of elbows and punches, making her the first Chinese UFC champion in history. She lost the belt to Rose Namajunas, then dropped the rematch, but fought her way back into contention. At UFC 281, she submitted Carla Esparza with a rear naked choke in the 2nd round to become a 2-time champion. Her style blends forward pressure, physical strength, and a fast-paced striking arsenal. She also mixes in wrestling and ground control more effectively with each fight. She's one of the most well-rounded strawweights the UFC's ever seen. She trains across continents, adapts quickly, and handles high-stakes pressure with focus. Kayla Harrison. Kayla was born in Ohio and started judo at 6. She won 2 Olympic gold medals for the United States, taking top honors in London 2012 and Rio 2016. After her 2nd Olympic run, she transitioned to MMA and signed with the Professional Fighters League, where she went undefeated and won 2 lightweight championships. Her dominance drew attention across the sport. Few women could match her strength, and none could stop her on the ground. She signed with the UFC in 2024 and made an immediate impact at 135 pounds. At UFC 316, she faced Raquel Pennington for the vacant bantamweight title after Amanda Nunes retired. Harrison controlled the fight with takedowns and top pressure, earning a unanimous decision win to become champion in her UFC pay-per-view debut. Her game revolves around clinch control, trips, and overwhelming grappling from top position. Opponents struggle to stay on their feet or create offense off their backs. Kayla's transition from Olympic gold to UFC gold was calculated and methodical. She came in with world-class credentials and backed them up inside the cage. With a perfect start and championship in hand, she instantly became a new force in a division rebuilding its identity. And that's it. The champions of today and the stories that shaped them. But with new contenders rising and records waiting to fall, which of these reigns will last and who will be the one you never saw coming? Share your thoughts in the comments section below as you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this.